Welcome to the Parker Daniels Show, where amazing stories are shared.
And be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay.
Welcome our guest, Mr. Lewis. Today's subject, steps toward independency as a visually impaired person. Though the title is talking about visually impaired people, we can also focus on the sighted community as well. As a disabled and sighted person, most of us long for our independency once we become of age. One form of being independent is getting our own house or thinking of getting it one day. And today, Mr. Lewis will bring some information in regards to this matter. We as blind people should never want to stay with our parents, mom and dad, for any length of time. So today, we're going to bring to you the steps toward independency. So without further ado, I would like to bring on Mr. Lewis and allow him to expound on what he knows about being a realtor. So, welcome, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you. And first, I want to say I appreciate the opportunity that you give me to express what we do as real estate agents, and give me an opportunity to help not only the blind community, but every other handicapped person that want to buy a house.
Okay.
You introduced me as Mr. Lewis, and I'd rather be called Larry. My name is Larry Lewis. Okay. And I'm a realtor. Been one for 20 years, and I work with CG Realtors here in Baton Rouge.
Well, you sort of put the cart before the horse, because that was one of the questions, and that was going to be what qualifies you to, give information in regards to that. So continue and give us some background history about you as a realtor.
Oh, okay. It started, as you know, and I'm a retired police officer. But prior to retiring, I got into real estate because I needed to make more money. I'm just being honest with you. It's just I wanted to make some more money, and that real estate getting into real estate offered me an opportunity to do that, and then it's give me something to do after I had retired. So and I enjoy it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, we're speaking about people who are disabled now at this point in time. Are there any advantages for individuals who are blind or impaired in whatever way, shape, or form, as far as purchasing a house, or is it the same across the board?
It's the same, and the thing about it, in real estate, like everything else, everybody got to be gonna treat everybody fairly and equally. We can't no more deny a person that want to buy a house as if he was say blind, or if he was black, or anything. Can't discriminate. Mm-hmm. So if you want to purchase a house, and if you got a particular handicap, we might have to find a house that you might be able to, say if somebody that didn't have any, that was wheelchair bound, mm-hmm. You might try to find a house with a ramp or something like that, just something to help them out. But as far as the helping them trying to find a house or trying to buy a house, I don't know, we're gonna work with them 100%.
Okay, so like other programs, there's not like any type of grant or anything.
Well, they got programs out there, but the programs are for everybody.
Okay.
And what you have to do, see, I sell real estate. I'm not into the financing part of the real estate. Mm-hmm. I will set you up to get you financed and all that, but there's grants, there's all kinds of stuff that comes out to help individuals that want to buy homes, whether they handicapped or whether they
sighted,
they sighted, or they can do anything.
Okay, so off the top of the head, do you know maybe any particular grants that are out there?
Right now,
mm-hmm.
Not now. I don't, because they come and go all the time. It depends on how much money they got for the grant and all that. But they come and go all the time. But as an agent, I can set you up with a a mortgage person or a banker or whatever, and we can work on seeing what we can find that particular client that will help that particular client get in a home and make it easier for them to get in the home.
Okay. Now, from start to finish, you know, what is the process, or because we're gonna talk about that later. I just want to know, like in terms of starting to purchase a house, how long does the filling out process actually take until actually, you know, purchasing a home?
But I'm glad, that's a good question. Usually, if the person is serious that want to buy a home, what we do is, like I said, I set them up with a person that get them qualified. And when I said if they're serious, they follow through on what the person, what the mortgage person or what the banker or finance person tell them to do. We have and you know, the perfect client that come in already have this financing ready and all that, and all we got to do is buy sell them a house. But very seldom we have that perfect client, and so we have to set them up from start to finish. And the first thing we do, like I said, I get them hooked up with a person that's gonna do the financing for them, and they just have to follow through. Whether or not they see if they qualify, they check the credit, see how much house they can buy and all that. Usually, the person that want to buy a house, usually they have an idea of what they want to get, and but sometimes we have to disappoint them. It's not because we're doing it; it's because the financing won't let them do it.
Okay, we're going to touch on that because that's very important. But in essence, the process, well, I know it depends on the you know the credit and all that. And in a sense, the process takes like what, months?
No, well, actually, it depending on a person's credit, sometimes we can get them qualified. They can get them qualified and ready to go in a couple of days.
Wow.
Yeah, it just depends on that person, how they paying the bills and what they owe and all that, and if that person realistically want to buy a house that they realistically can afford.
Right.
Yeah. So you know, we get a lot of clients that want to get a $300,000 house, but they're only qualified for a $100,000 house. And you know, a $300,000 house and a $100,000 house is a big difference. And they get disappointed.
Right.
Yeah.
But something they already thinking they're going to get.
Yeah, and they can't. So that's what we try to tell them. Hold up, let's get qualified first. Let's see what we can get first. Don't look at a house until we get you qualified, and then you know what we're working with, what we can look at, and what we can get. Yeah,
that's important. So I'm glad you were able to expound on that. Now, again, we're speaking to Larry, and he's a realtor. For those who are just joining us, and he's talking about the steps toward independency. That's for blind people, any other sighted people, any other disabled people. It doesn't matter in terms of if you want to purchase a house. Now, the next question is, in terms of the process that it takes to purchase a house, does it vary from state to state, or are all the is the process in terms of filling out applications and things like that? Is it the across the board the same?
But as far as getting qualified, it's going to be the same. But grants and all that varies from one state to another. One thing you was asking me about, like earlier, talking about getting house for somebody that's handicapped. Say there's somebody that's in a wheelchair, where being wheelchair bound, they just want a shower and all that. We have to trying to find a house with a wide enough shower that they can go in, they can easily access and all that kind of stuff. And we can do that. Certain doors got to be wide and all that kind of stuff. And we can get, if the house is, they see a house that they don't
that's accessible. Can y'all work with them and stuff?
Yeah, we see what we can do to try to work with them, see if they got a program that'll come in there and widen the doors out and all that.
Okay. Well, in short, because you touched, that's what I was going to touch on that. As far as individuals who are visually impaired, I just like to expound on this subject since we're dealing with that. it's great, and you definitely come in on this. It's good to find a house that's accessible to certain areas, or in a good location, or on a bus line, or whatever you frequent a lot. Make sure it's in the area that you will be able to have access to. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, we just like you said, if you're visually impaired and you need a house on the bus line or somewhere close to the bus line. Well, yeah, we can actually put that in and say we can find you a house in that particular that runs along the bus line and all that. Say if you want a house where we can also check whether or not how much crime is being committed in a particular neighborhood and all that, whether or not they have sex offenders and all that, the schoolings and all that. We can check and see all that.
So basically, as a realtor, you're very accommodating, or your agency is very accommodating.
We do anything we can to get you in the house that you want to get in.
Okay. Now, just briefly, because for time constraints, just give us what will be the process. Say, for instance, an individual come to you and is interested in purchasing a home. What will be the process if you can condense it to like maybe 1 or 2 minutes, or 2 minutes basically, and tell us from start to finish and who they would have to talk with and speak with until they actually get in the home.
Okay. First thing, you have to speak to me. Yeah, and then I see what I can do. Well, what we do is we ask them about the income, how long they've been working, and from just giving you your income, usually how we can determine about how much house you can afford. We get your gross income yearly and multiply it times 4, and then you can determine from that point on what about what price range of house you can get. Then once you get to the mortgage person, what they would do is they would do basically the same thing and see what your ratios are. And then when I say ratios, they start pulling your bills out of your gross income, and that way they can determine what kind of house that you can afford to buy. After that, like I said, if your credit is kind of shaded, they will tell you what you need to do, and that's why I'm telling you, the person that's trying to buy the house have to really work with it. If they really want to buy a house, once you get that fever, and those of us that had that house fever before know what I'm talking about. Once you get that fever, you want to get a house, you do what you have to do to get qualified. And I just sold a girl a house, and it took us 18 months to find a house.
Really?
Yeah, but she had to find the right one for her and all that.
Okay.
And sometimes it take a while. She had to get qualified. We had to work the process. She had to do what she had to do, as far as getting her credit straight and all that. And she did everything that they asked her to do.
And that's what I want to talk about, just briefly, about the credit. If a person's credit score is not that good before purchasing a house, what do you all recommend in order for them to get their score up?
Well, like I said, first we're gonna give them with a good mortgage originator, and that originator would tell them what they need to do and give them a step-by-step process on getting the credit straight and saving some money, not going out there buying stuff that you don't necessarily have to get. Because one of the worst things we see, and we see this all the time, somebody get qualified for a house and we get them just where they need to be at, then they go out there and buy a car, and then they back to step 1 again.
Okay, so in that instance, what do you recommend for to people who actually do something of that vernacular? What do you recommend them not to do? Not to purchase anything?
Not to purchase a car, for one thing. Because what happens is when you go to a dealership trying to buy purchase a car, they run your credit. They'll run your credit through maybe 10, 15 different credit companies, and that lowers your credit score.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we ask them to wait, and like I said, the mortgage person, I'm not into the mortgage side of that, but the mortgage person would tell them exactly what they need to do, and if you follow along with that your particular loan originator and do what they tell you to do, you can get you in the houses fairly soon.
Okay, and off the cuff, what is considered a good credit score?
Well, okay, I'm looking for the perfect. Say what we're gonna do with the perfect client.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 850 is a good credit score, but most people don't have that.
Right.
So 680, and they got programs where they can go as low as 580, but I think it's anywhere from 620 to 680. We can
work with, okay.
We can get your house, but and like I said, if it's lower than that, say if you're in the low 500s, but if you work with your mortgage person, they can and do what they tell you to do. They can get your credit scores up.
Okay.
You can get in the house. I mean, it's never to a point where you just feel like I'm never gonna get in the house, or I'm gonna be renting the rest of my life and all that. No, it depends on how much determination we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very lengthy situation. I was able to condense it into just a couple of minutes, and I'm quite sure, he has more that we can talk about, but we just basically wanted to share this with all individuals, the blind, sighted, and anybody who's interested in purchasing a house. My conclusion before I allow him to say his final words is, as a blind person, as a person who's disabled or impaired, whatever words you choose, make sure, as I mentioned earlier, that before you purchase a house that it's accommodating to you. Don't just go out and get a house and then you have to make provisions later on. So kind of look for what you need in the process, and the process won't be too hard in terms of whenever you get it.
Yes, I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it. Let it take you away. And be hopeful, and he'll make a way.